Africa Speaks on African Diaries with Shayla Ndikumana.
Nesse sol, tava apanhando lá na fundiladeira. Quem quer saber, sangue nesse sol, tava apanhando lá na fundiladeira. Sangue Verona, sangue Verona, sangue Verona, ele sabe, ele doce. Sangue Verona, sangue Verona, sangue Verona. Ele sabe, ele doce. Se vou cochar lá na fundiladeira, bota culpa aí que faz escoladeira. Se vou cochar lá na fundiladeira, bota culpa aí que faz escoladeira. Sangue Verona, sangue Verona, sangue Verona. Ele sabe, ele doce. Sangue Verona, sangue Verona, sangue Verona, ele sabe, ele doce. Lá na fundiladeira, bota culpa aí que faz escoladeira. Se vou cochar lá na fundiladeira, bota culpa aí que faz escoladeira. Sangue Verona, sangue Verona, sangue Verona, ele sabe, ele doce. Sangue Verona, sangue Verona, sangue Verona, ele sabe, ele doce. Sangue Verona, sangue Verona, sangue Verona, ele sabe, ele doce. Sangue Verona, sangue Verona, sangue Verona, ele sabe, ele doce. Sangue Verona, sangue Verona, sangue Verona, ele sabe, ele doce.
Santi Berona there by Cesaria Avora, taking us to Cape Verde. A beautiful and blessed evening to you and yours. It is 7 minutes after 10 p.m. Central African Time. Welcome to African Diaries, the Monday edition where we focus on self. So self-love, self-development. If you want self-restoration, if you want self-relaxation, it is about you. That is the primary concern this evening, and we're going to do this through quite an intriguing conversation. So just to let you know, you can find us on DSTV's 802, if not 628 on OpenView HD. We are readily available for you on that SABC Plus app, and you can stream us live, finding us on YouTube and Facebook, looking for the platform Channel Africa. Now, today on the show, of course, we kickstart off with a recap of the stories that were hosted on the platform that gives you the African perspective. I mean, we kickstart off with the Rise and Shine team. That is our morning, our breakfast show with Peter Ndoro and Asanda Beta, and we run through the day, of course. Just hoping to have you have an understanding of what Africa can bring forth, what Africa can churn out forth, particularly through this platform called Channel Africa. And then we get into a conversation that really speaks to the African education system. Now, what if Africa's education system is preparing students for jobs that don't exist, while leaving them unemployed, unprepared to create opportunities, and leaving them desperate? This week, we sit down with Willem Gous, a global speaker, entrepreneur, a startup mentor, and he's also awarded for that for the year 2024. And we're going to be asking that hard question: is entrepreneurship education in Africa broken? And if so, how do we fix it so that it delivers real results? Real results looks like more jobs. Real results looks like a less stringent dependency on job creation, and as opposed to seeing that as the problem, seeing that as the solution, an opportunity to create jobs, to invite people into spaces so that they too can share their skill sets. And so listen, these are things we are pondering on. Tonight is a discussion where we're unwinding, we're opening up our minds, and we're digging deep to see, is this truly the case? Or perhaps we're misunderstanding the plot all together. Now that comes your way between 10:30 and 11 p.m. Central African time. Your reflections will be coming in as well in the next hour, so please feel free to reach out to us. Find us on WhatsApp +27 634069126. Again, that number +27 634069126. I emphasize this because I want to hear from you this evening. I want to hear where you tuned in from. What are your thoughts and views on Africa's education system? Is it encompassing of entrepreneurship as a subject matter and as something that we are hoping to ingrain within our working force, or is it not? Listen, if you can't find us on WhatsApp, you're saying, Shayla, listen, I'm avoiding it for whatever reasons. You can find us on TikTok, on Instagram, and on X at Channel Africa 1, and on Facebook at Channel Africa Radio.
Africa's very own think tank. This is Channel Africa Online. www.channelafrica.co.za.
Africa at Play is our bundle of joy in sport, where we get to speak to the young ones, 12 years and below. And today we've got a special guest, Tsedolo Ramasamwana. When did you start playing golf?
I started playing golf when I was 5 years old because my dad inspired me to it, and I really thought I would enjoy it, and really I am.
I take it your dad also plays?
Yes.
What do you like so much about golf?
I like golf because it helps you with the mindset, how to know where you're going, and how to really become strong and fit.
I've also noticed that in family setups, if the father plays football, chances of the son playing football are high. If the father is a golfer, chances of the son being a golfer are high. Did your father influence you to play golf and not any other sporting coach, or you got to see him play and you thought maybe this is the way to go?
The first option was correct.
The first option was correct.
Yeah.
What do you love so much about your father?
I love him because he's really kind and he's really funny, and and he's good at taking.
Africa Speaks on African Diaries with Shayla Ndikumana. Channel Africa, where every moment is an African celebration. Feel the energy. Feel the connection. Channel Africa, the African perspective. We are on Open Views Audio Bouquet. Channel 628.
foto baram yi tuuti waay loxo ja kaw ma ne vie fay sama mag la bilay moom du def loolu yoo cey ma ne coombaay sama waay la bilay moom du def loolu yoo cey jo coo yëngul coo yëngul waay damay mer de
dan xina pax gi dan wuran samba xuramba pax digit dan xin samba xuramba tas dan xin samba xuramba tas
wawa mbay merotuma mane Léon Sarr sama mag la bilay mam du def loolu yoo Sarr bandam mane manu lima sama waay la bilay mam du def loolu yoo tey manu mane bari lobe sama mag la bilay mam du def loolu yoo tey lobe kuy waddo lamiñ bu noppee rafle man du ma noppee sama lamiñ la waddo waaw tuure gunda bu ñu noppee rafle waaw Omar Ben noppee rafle waaw Yuusu Maaji Wow baba mal, bunyi no perafle. John balago sek, bunyi no perafle. Wa halam nyar, bunyi no perafle. Wa orkes national, bunyi no perafle. Man izolo dumo no pinda, bunyi no perafle. Maksudnya malak me, mesti jape mudem. Nanyi fam kam malak me, miko puse mudem.
24 minutes after 10 p.m. Central African Time. Ishmael Low coming in with that one titled Jalebi. And before that, we had Msaki with her rendition of Pata Pata and that one titled Saguquka. If you've just joined us, welcome to it. This is African Diaries. Shayla Ndikumana with you, and I keep you company all the way through to midnight. Time for us to wrap up the conversations that were. And we kickstart off with the Rise and Shine team, where Peter Ndoro was in conversation with Dr. Victor Gongola of UNICEF's Chad Chief of Health on the 1.1 million cholera vaccine doses supplied to Chad that battles a deadly outbreak in its east.
1 million doses.
As you may know, the oral cholera vaccine is managed by an international coordinating group made up of UNICEF, WHO, Médecins Sans Frontières, that's Doctors Without Borders, and the International Federation of the Red Cross. They have strict criteria that they follow to approve the award of stock of vaccines, the cholera vaccine, to any country. And for Chad met all of these criteria, one being that the epidemiological risk for the country with this epidemic is very high, considering the limited means and resources to bring the outbreak under control. We are talking of a situation of overcrowded refugee camps, poor sanitation, and limited access to clean water, factors that are creating ideal conditions for the disease to spread. Also, one of the criteria is the capacity of the country to bring the outbreak under control using medical and other interventions. Given the weak health system in Chad, and particularly in those two provinces, that has been overwhelmed since April 2023 by the massive influx of refugees. The countries would not be able to bring this epidemic under control without.
Keeping things on the move, Benjamin Mushatama spoke to Dr. Shahida Janssen, a clinical psychologist, unpacking the hidden dangers of financial abuse, its warning signs, and support systems.
Signs or indicators that someone is actually going through this financial abuse, Doctor?
Okay, I think sometimes in quite a physical way, in the sense that you become aware and you can see that suddenly there are loans or credit cards or contracts that have been taken out without your consent that you don't know about. Or you may suddenly become aware that there are debts or a poor credit history that you don't know about, because you know that you pay, you service your debts quite well, but you're beginning to see this, right? Or sometimes you are not even allowed to have your own card. You don't have your own PIN, or you are forced to share your own PIN or your online banking access. Another way in which financial abuse manifests is that you've got money, but you're constantly having to beg for your own money. And then even when you are given money, you given the small allowances, right? And then once you even start, once you use the money, you are subject to this regular where you have to give updates, right? And there's this monitoring of your expenses.
Wow.
And sometimes even, certain things that must be paid, like for example, your child care. And then you find yourself not being able to go to work because the child care, there's no person to look after the children because it hasn't been paid. So I think those are just, some of the ways that the person becomes aware, sometimes in a very physical way. But then also, when I see a person like this, one of the things that I explore with a person is I say, let's make a list of the way you feel in relation to your financial situation.
Okay.
And because remember, emotions are information. And so when we begin to list, and I like to also project it, on a board so that the person can see. And the person might say, I feel scared to ask about my own money. I'm often made to feel guilty. I'm often made to feel that I'm gluttonous or I love money too much. Okay.
And on the upside, the team caught up with Brett Hopper, the GM of Sun City, on the resort's bold reimagining, this blending rich history with modern-day African-inspired luxury, this ahead of the Nedbank Golf Challenge.
Since the 70s that you would want to kind of still uphold and honor the hotel's rich history through its design. But I want to know how you are then kind of modernizing it. Are you thinking of the African traveler, what you want their experience to be like as you modernize and refurbish the rooms in particular?
Well, I think anytime we talk about Sun City, first of all, we wish to pay homage to Africa, whether it be in the design, decor, the layout of the room, and some of the cultural history, which we've tried to do in the context of the rooms. Whilst at the same time making sure that everything the traveller requires is, distinctly modernized, and that goes from Wi-Fi capability to your ability to plug multiple devices in, to be able to have a work area, for example. I mean, all of us do a lot of working on the fly, even though we're on leave or whatever the case may be. So I think that the type and nature of the requirements of a traveller have changed quite fundamentally. And of course, one needs to make sure that we're able to cater to those particular travelers. And I mean, we do a huge amount of conference business as well. So I think that part of it is also very, very important. What is a conference traveler looking for? What are their requirements, and so on and so forth? So each of the design aspects of the room itself have been very, very carefully thought out.
And then lastly, Tami Ngobeni explored Nigeria's shea butter boom. This with analyst Dennis Oshia discussing how a ban on raw exports could position Nigeria as a global refiner supplier.
I'm coming up this afternoon on Africa in Business, a look at the 2026 Africa Mining Indaba, where partnerships are key to what is going to be happening with interactions between government, investors, as well as mining companies. The entire objective is to unlock the growth and the potential in African mining. So we'll be chatting this afternoon to Kwasi Apomfo, who's head of metals and mining at Bloomberg NEF. Also this afternoon, a look at the latest moves by the Nigerian government. They're going to be banning the exports of shea nuts for the next 6 months in an effort really to add value to the industry in Nigeria. Instead of exporting nuts, they now want to export shea butter and fully produced skin and hair products. But how is that going to impact the trade balance globally? We'll focus on that. But first up, a look at what we are wanting to do, and that is hear from you. Yes, we do.
Absolutely, Tommy. We'd love to hear from you this evening. Find us on WhatsApp +27 6340699126. For these and more, please do head over to our platform, channelafrica.co.za, for the audio-visual offering. This is the live footage of the show as it goes. Please look for Channel Africa on YouTube and on Facebook. And for all the updates on all the shows in real time, use the handle @Channel Africa 1 on X, on Instagram, and on TikTok.
When the sun goes down, we don't stop the talk. Channel Africa, the best nighttime radio.
It is 33 minutes after 10 p.m. Central African time. It's time for us to scribe in our diary. And today we're going to do it in English. So, dear African diary.
A request to everyone who runs schools in South Africa, in particular principals, the staff, the governing body. If we are serious about creating an entrepreneurial culture in South Africa, we have to show it through our schools where children spend the bulk of their day. Number one, we have no issue with giving kids money to go and spend at a tuck shop every day at school. And the people that run the schools don't mind children coming to buy and become consumers. But we do have an issue with parents giving their children stock to go and sell at their school. And that's something that needs to change. We need to encourage young children, primary school, high school, bring your stock to school, and during break, recess, you can sell whatever it is you have to sell, and after school as well, so that we can encourage you guys to be sellers, to be business people. For children that don't have money, the other thing is bartering. You can bring your sneakers, you can bring your clothes, you can bring books, you can bring food, and you guys can barter with each other at school during break and after school, so that the children of that school become used to becoming entrepreneurs, to a point where some of these things they bring to school are produce that they've grown and farmed themselves. I think that they've made themselves with their hands, handcrafts. They've sewn something, they've manufactured something. There can be kids at school that come during break to fix cell phones, to fix laptops, because we are encouraging entrepreneurship. The second very important change that needs to happen in our schools is we need to add entrepreneurship as an extramural activity above sports, over and above sports, over and above debating, drama, and all the things that the kids do after school. How about we have entrepreneurship class after school, or as an extramural where children can come together, learn about business, teach each other about business, learn about buying stock, about selling, learn about managing, accounting, the income statement, the balance sheet, and then they can travel to conferences around the town, the city, go to other cities and towns, especially Johannesburg, Sandton Convention Center, the ICC in Cape Town, ICC in Durban, where they can go to conferences and learn about business, import, export. And once some of these kids have shown promise in business, they can even be sent overseas to and learn about other businesses elsewhere, how to trade with other countries elsewhere, and encourage the idea of having investment classes or clubs in the schools where children start off with demo accounts and then start using their pocket money to trade stocks in real time, so that they're tracking the South African economy, and then later trading or tracking the NASDAQ, the FTSE, the DAC, whatever stock exchanges are out there, to say this is how my investment portfolio is looking this year. I'm reading the news, I'm watching the news, I'm following politics, I'm figuring out which companies are booming, which companies are not going through a good time, so that I can short the stocks. And we encourage our children to become business people. The biggest problem we have in this country is that we encourage kids to just learn basic education, which then makes them go and study basic qualifications at tertiary level, and then they go around begging for jobs in an economy that doesn't have jobs for them, instead of encouraging them to become entrepreneurs. And how you do that is by making sure that it's integrated into the schooling system. It is not by accident that you see Indian children thriving in business, because when they knock off from school, they go to their parents' business and they work as a cashier, they work in stocking, they work with customer management and the like. And from a young age, they learn to be business people. Similarly, you find Afrikaans children on the weekends, on school holidays, they visit the family farm or a friend's farm. They visit auctions. They learn how to buy and sell livestock. They drive tractors. They ride horses. By the time they're old, they know how to run a farm and to manage a farm. But for every other child out there, we are not equipping them with the skills through the schooling system to learn how to be producers, to learn how to be retailers, to learn how to be manufacturers, exporters, even importers, and to manage business. And it seems like this thing is done intentionally. And I'm asking all the people that run schools, have influence in schools, to please consider changing this thing. Not just the cake sale once in a while, not just the entrepreneurship day once in a while, an everyday thing where kids are trading, bartering, during school break, after school, and then the investment clubs and the entrepreneurial extramural activity. It will be a game changer for South Africa, and then the rest of the world will probably copy from us in saying this has changed the economic landscape in South Africa, and it was started by us. Penuel the Black Pen.
You heard the man. His name is Penuel the Black Pen. If you're looking for him on TikTok, it's God Penuel. And he's urging the scholarly system, the education system, to sought after prospects of teaching children entrepreneurship from a tender age. Not that once in a while activity. However, we're teaching them to spend on the daily by giving them money to go and buy at the tuck shop. Are we teaching them how to make that money is the question. And so we're going to be addressing that with Willem Goos this evening, looking at re-engaging or reimagining the education system across the African continent. Willem Goos is a globally recognized speaker, author, and entrepreneur from South Africa who's dedicated over 25 years to championing entrepreneurial thinking as a vital skill. That conversation comes your way in a short bit. For now, some music.
African Diaries, weekdays, 10 till midnight.
Shawty fucking puppy, the president of Pluto. Fire, man.
Desperado, many, my amigo, Balotelli, ladies taking me photo, paparazzi, Don Julio, Don Diami, Egumedeu, la ni pestaza la azametra la ni la Egumedeu, la ni pestaza la azametra la la yeah la yeah la yeah la yeah la yeah. It's not the way I see me because of the way I talking to me. Think you see me the street of Opa, you see me the street of Sapler, you see me you go, you see me tell Joshua you can talk to me like this. Yeah, I'll be wow. You know. So Minister of Enjoyment, it's a continental, monumental. Go live forever. Chop another bank out. At the mat, there must be meta. Smoky Zaza. Let me can't forget your mother. Egumedeu la ni pestaza la azametra la ni la Egumedeu la ni pestaza la azametra la la yeah la yeah la yeah la yeah la desperado many my amigo Balotelli ladies taking me photo paparazzi Don Julio Don Diami
Africa, voici Abedi.
Oui, c'est moi.
Abedi est un passionné de musique dans l'âme. Il a un goût pour toutes sortes de musique et passe ses journées à écouter Channel Africa.
J'aime beaucoup la musique africaine.
Ok. Devinez quoi? Channel Africa veut aider Abedi et les mélomanes du monde entier à découvrir encore plus de musique incroyable. C'est pourquoi Channel Africa appelle les artistes africains à soumettre leur musique. Chers artistes, n'oubliez pas de nous fournir toutes vos informations pertinentes à l'email adresse musique@channelafrica.co.za. Les soumissions sont votre chance d'être entendues, mais elles ne garantissent pas une playlist. Toutes les soumissions seront soigneusement examinées pour voir si elles répondent aux exigences de notre station. Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Nighttime radio, just the way you like it, on Channel Africa, where the night comes alive.
It is 43 minutes after 10 p.m. Central African time. Shali Poppy coming in with that one titled Laho. If you've just joined us, welcome to it. This is African Diaries, Shailen Dikumana, but I'm not alone. I'm in studio with a very, very reputable individual. Listen, this man is about to drop bombs, so prepare your heart and mind to receive wisdom, okay? So welcome to a transformational dialogue centered on reimagining entrepreneurship education across the African continent. I'm honored to introduce my guest. This is Willem Goos. He is a globally recognized speaker, an author, and an entrepreneur from South Africa who has dedicated 25 years plus to championing entrepreneurial thinking as a vital and critical skill. He is innovative, he is human-centric in his approach, and has empowered unemployed township residents in just 5 weeks without any external funding. And this to launch profitable micro businesses. And so we get into conversation with Willem this evening, and we're going to kick off the conversation for our show, dedicating it to reigniting African potential through grounded, practical insights, focusing on how we can just gauge this very one question, this first question, in actual fact, that begs an answer for how we fix entrepreneurship education across the African continent and how this can bring true and yield true results. Willem, it's a pleasure to be with you in studio again. I prepared myself this time around. Okay. I had to, because the last time I think my jaw was on the floor. You left us still trying to scrape it off. So this time I am ready for you. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me, and hello to all the listeners.
Absolutely. Let's start off with Penwell. You managed to hear a bit of his thinking, just with respect to teaching children fundamentals on entrepreneurship from a tender age, because you get into the habit of buying things, but you're never taught how to make that money. That happens once a year or once a semester, if you will. Or they call it a term during primary and high school. And so what's your take on that?
What I loved about that is he didn't talk about business models, business planning, and all of these types of things. He spoke about kids learning to trade.
Yeah.
And that is a critical thing. Both my children know how to trade. Even my daughter, I think, did about 5,000 Rand, which is about $250 a month in matric, selling cookies and makeup.
Oh.
And the headmaster said, "You stop that." And she said, "No." And she continued. So I fully agree with him.
Yeah.
Is we need but practical skills. What he's talking about and what I'm talking about are practical skills. Moving away from this theoretical bog that we're stuck in.
Let's talk about the theoretical bog. What is it that we're seeing in our education system currently?
People need to understand entrepreneurship education is more focused on business than it is developing entrepreneurs. There's a massive disconnect there. And I stir a lot of feathers when I go around and I say all this stuff about business planning, business modeling, lean startup and other startup processes need to be kicked out of Africa because they're irrelevant, non-contextual, slow and expensive, has a low throughput. But apart from that, that's management education. That's not entrepreneurship education. It works on the business and not the person. Whereas earlier you mentioned my work, I take an unemployed person in the township, get them to start a profitable business in 5 weeks without external funding, and I do that by changing the person. So I don't build businesses, I develop people who build businesses. And that's what we need to shift at, because Africa is in deep trouble. Every year we add 12 million people to the workforce, and there's only 3 million jobs available.
Okay. Let's start with the integration of developing people. How would this be made manifest in an education system?
So the education system, let me start by saying there's some brilliant programs out there, stunning programs. And to rejig the whole school and university education system will not happen ever. The beast is too big, and you risk throwing out the baby with the bathwater, because there's certain elements that do work and do work well. What I have found is that many programs do impact hundreds of thousands of youth annually. Spectacular, and I want to thank them for that. But one thing that I found on most of these programs is they don't measure the actual outcomes. We've touched people with entrepreneurship. We've introduced them to entrepreneurship. We've exposed them to entrepreneurship. Okay, but did they ever touch it? It's like taking kids to a piano museum. Like, look, these things make music. No way. Yes, if you sit down and play. Can I? No. This is a tour only. Okay, and most of these programs lack a measurable output.
Yeah.
How many businesses are starting? And so many of these big corporates that talk to me, that sponsor some of my programs, come to me and said, we're tired of people taking people through training. So we need to focus more towards a practical solution where you apply. And that's an important thing, but that's difficult, because I was speaking to a panel of professors and educators in the space from UNESCO. And the one professor said, one of our big stumbling blocks is that the people teaching entrepreneurship have never been an entrepreneur. And there is that major disconnect. I mean, I was in a webinar where the biggest entrepreneurship development organization, one of the biggest in the world, and it was the head of programs and two people running programs in countries, and something sounded off. And I raised my hand and I said, have any of you ever been an entrepreneur? I said, no, we studied it at university. So there's that disconnect as well. So practicality and the people teaching it. And I think we need to shift away first and foremost from business thinking. Put that aside for now. And what the podcaster said earlier is get the kids involved. I don't know if you play a musical instrument, Shayla.
Once upon a time, played the piano.
The piano.
Yes.
So how do you learn to play the piano?
You practice.
You practice. You sit down and you do it. And that's how we need to start getting people into entrepreneurship. Get them into the flow of things and the rejection and the failure, and just learn it's part of life. But also that doesn't fit in with school thinking.
The voice there of Willem Goos, who I did promise would be dropping bombshells and eggs and all kinds of things. Prepare your mind, grab a pen and paper, because this conversation is about to be fruitful. He is a globally recognized speaker, author, and entrepreneur from South Africa with over 25 years experience in championing entrepreneurial thinking. We are talking about shifting or perhaps rewiring the education system to look further and deeper into entrepreneurship. You've always described entrepreneurship as fixing the person, and hence you focusing on the thinking, right? LO, for instance, is a subject, life orientation, that focuses on the being and how to gauge yourselves as beings within a community. Do you see that being the platform for this kind of education to be introduced through?
life orientation deals with a different part of life. I think
Mm.
that's the social aspects of that.
Yeah.
And to correct you on something else, it's not about fixing the person, it's about shifting their perspective
Mm.
and waking themselves up to different parts of themselves that they thought previously could never exist or function or even they have it. And then I just open the cupboard, look, it's here. And then they become that.
Mm.
So it could fit in nicely into that, but it's going to be cross-discipline between business. But the most important thing is the training must convert to income. We must stop training for the sake of training. I've seen that so many times. Talking to incubators in Asia. No, we've trained 5,000 people, 3,000 people. Okay, how many people started the business? We don't know. We just trained them. And so there's no real measurable output. And that's what I bring to the market. And from day one, when I develop my programs, it's designed into it. Like my friend said, you're one of the few people who allow people to open the bonnet of the car and really look at what's under the hood. And we need to get back into that. The practical side and the measurable side, and it needs to drive income, not ideas.
Sure. Do you reckon, and I suppose this is just a follow-up to what you're saying, do you reckon if a measurable scale is introduced into the current programs, that then they would be fruitful to an extent?
No.
Okay.
Because I think most programs are still too theoretical.
There's no practicality.
And it's the big problem that I see is it's first world programs and processes being run in a developing economy. And that doesn't work. But everybody sticks to it like they do to a religion. We must do this. And I was training a bunch of students a while back and preparing them for a pitch contest. Now, if you really want to irritate me, you must get people to do a pitch contest, because it's a theater of false promises and broken dreams. It's just like, oh, you have an idea. I have 5 ideas every time I cough. So it means nothing if you do nothing with it. And then I said to them, midway day one, oh, and you're going to get customers over the next 3 weeks. So you're like, what? Yes, you're going to, I don't pitch businesses that don't have customers. So I won't do this training with you unless you go get customers.
Mm.
And they were scared. But they did the work, and they went out and they overcame those fears. And simply training people on processes and programs that were not designed for Africa or created in Africa, taking our unique perspective and situation into account, I think is a waste of time.
Sure. If you want to send through your questions, find us on WhatsApp +27 63406 9126. That was the voice of Willem Goos joining us this evening, a speaker, an author, and entrepreneur who focuses on championing entrepreneurial thinking. And so, Willem, with that being said, let's look at what currently exists across the African continent in terms of offerings, because you said that there are a number of programs that are doing a good job. Right, but we don't have the practical and the measurable accounts being afforded to individuals, and so we don't know where that is sort of what the end product of those programs are. If we are looking at those programs and the practicality and measurable status of these programs, how do we then have conversations? And I'm saying this because I want a solution. Right. My idea is if we solve part of the problem, then we can continue to integrate this practical, measurable standard across the field by starting with what we do have. Where does the conversation start there? Are we talking to these organizations? Are we teaching them how to make entrepreneurship practical? Are we going to schools, teaching them how to integrate entrepreneurship? What are we doing?
It's a very good question. And it's not about replacing the existing programs. It's about inputting different people. Because at the moment you sit with an unknown. People go and they say, no, we're going to show you how to get funding and access to market. And then they sit there and they talk for days. But once you go through my work and you shift the person, they do all of those things already. And then when you plug an entrepreneurial thinking person who's already had the experience and the will and willingness to do this, it just accelerates the success in those programs. And to get back to earlier question about the school system, we need to start changing people. The system is too big. We need to start changing the person in the system. And the programs are having conversations, but not to the level that they're supposed to, because their programs, their methodologies end at a certain level, where now you sit with the situation, but Willem, those aren't entrepreneurs. See, that's why I teach entrepreneurship as a life skill. It is a life skill. It's not a business skill. It's a life skill.
Sure.
But then they go and they say, yeah, but not everybody can. Yes, they can. Some people will be better than others. It's just like playing the piano. Some will play international concerts. Some would sound like Kanye West on that one song, like ting, ting, and so
yeah,
he's going to be that guy rapping along to that. But still he's playing the piano.
Yeah, that is fair.
And we need to give the opportunity for everybody to live their entrepreneurial spirit. Leave the business for now. Wake the person up. And that's the work that I do in schools and universities.
Let's talk about waking a person up. What are we waking up?
It's a good way. Waking a person up to their own potential. There's a great image out there, and as a father it really resonated with me in the beginning. It's two shadow figures standing across from each other, and the one figure holding out a square of their own shadow and to the other person, and they have that exact square block missing, while this person, being the father, is just, he's full of holes because he's given so much to his kids. And as a parent, that's true. But for entrepreneurs, you're not missing anything. You are perfect as you are. You know how to talk to people. You know how to engage people. You know how to sell stuff. Well, most people, you're always selling. If you go on a date, you're selling. If you meet the parents, you're doubly selling.
Indeed.
Double bubble.
Yes.
And just take that into a commercial sense. And the waking up is more of, Shayla, have you not seen this side of yourself? Shayla, have you ever thought that it could be possible that you do this? And once you break the barriers, there's mostly educational and misinformation. I despise that word, sorry. Information that stands in their way, that blocks them. The belief that I have to have funding, the belief that I have to have a business plan, and the belief that I have to have access to market. And once you remove those beliefs, then their eyes are open to opportunity. So it's on many levels. It's on an educational level. It's on a training level. But over time, the person becomes that person that can always see it. Because once I show it to you, you can't unsee it. And once you see the true potential within yourself, I can't take that away.
Sure. Because that's yours.
That's you.
That's very interesting. And I say that's interesting because you said something to the effect of we need to change people. The system is too big. It's too big a beast. So the people are the ones that need changing. You have done some research on the education system across the continent. How many people are thinking the way you are now speaking?
Not many, because it's not a popular approach. It doesn't fit in with the system that's already there. Some people are starting to get there, like the podcaster that you play there. They are going, okay, this is interesting. And I am in a very hard push around the world at the moment to say, well, entrepreneurship is a life skill. But few people, the more and more I speak at events, people come to me and say, I'm glad you said that. Or people would say, go and listen to that guy. So there's a handful of voices. We're not very strong at the moment, but we're pushing consistently. Because the thing is, everybody knows what's being thrown at Africa is not working. We're not seeing the results. I mean, more than I couldn't get to an exact amount, but one country I think spends close to $1 billion a year on entrepreneurship development, and it's not yielding the results. But the one interesting thing that I did discover, and I've used this in my work as well, the difference, they did a research paper in classroom training compared to personal development training, in other words, your inner thinking, like entrepreneurial thinking. And they found classroom training has about 11-12% increase on your profits on your business over the next 2 or 3 years. Well, when you work on the person, you have 30% improvement.
Sure.
And that is what you want, that stickiness and that massive improvement. I mean, one of my trainers went to KFC the other day, and somebody said to him, you do entrepreneurship education? And he said, yes. He says, yes, you and that Willem guy did training in Town Central like 4 years ago. I said, yes, yeah, my business is doing very well, thank you. And that's 4 years later, and we only spent a couple of hours over 5 weeks with him. And that's the important thing that we need to look at, is to really bring entrepreneurial thinking from primary school, high school, university. We need it, Shayla, because look at how the world's changing.
Drastically. If we are to be very honest and just gauge, I mean, the integration of technology, the dependence on technology. I noticed even now that there's a hefty dependence on power. What happens if the grid goes off? We're all panicking and thinking, will we even exist if we have no power?
Oh, and that's going to get worse, because if you look just the artificial intelligence data centers in America used 26 gigawatts of power last year. South Africa as a country uses 23 gigawatts. And they're building these things as if it's going out of fashion. So we're going to soon compete with the machines for power for these types of things. But the changes that are coming is we need to prepare people for that, because Africa is already farming backwards. I mean, if we bring 12 million people online into the workforce and we only give 3 million of them a job, we're sitting on a powder keg. And one thing that needs to shift definitely in the whole thinking around entrepreneurship education is this thing about small businesses of the future. It's not. It takes 5 to 10 years to build a small business. Micro enterprises, less than 10 people. You can start that thing in a day. Low cost, sometimes no cost, low risk. There's always a risk. People are like, I want a no risk business. But that's the great thing, is now you have the micro enterprises and it's accessible. Anybody can get into that. Just like that podcaster said earlier, you know, the kids, they're starting a micro business. It's not a one-man band. It can have up to 5 people. I run a micro business. 90 to 95% of any economy are micro businesses. But they don't talk about it. And these things you can spool up, like I said, 5 weeks. You can build that business in 5 weeks, while a small business will take you maybe 5 years. And a medium business, that's now 25 or 50 people to 250. That takes, I'd say, about 20 years, 15, 20 years.
Mm.
You know, these are averages.
Yeah.
There are places where you go into acceleration and everything else, and everything falls into place. But those are few and far between. Most businesses take a long time to build.
Sure. It is 7 minutes after 11 p.m. Central African time. I want us to take a quick breather, allowing you to digest what has been shared. If you want to send through your thoughts, your views, your questions, find us on WhatsApp, +27634069126. We are looking at shifting the focus when it comes to entrepreneurial education away from business training and more on the individual to establish and develop their entrepreneurial thinking. And we're doing this with Willem Gous, who is a globally recognized speaker, an author, and an entrepreneur who's dedicated over 25 years to championing this kind of thinking. A breather, then we get back and we wrap up conversation.
Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa.
Stella Longwe pamalonje.
Palitusokoma pano pamalonje kumvera nyimbo za mu Africa kusangalala kupeza moyo akuti kumva moyo kuti kuyenda bwino pano pamalonje ndiyetu apa tili ndikatswiri oyimba ameneyu ndikatswiri wa dziko la Malawi amene akukhala mdziko la South Africa ndipo amayimba amene akuti ndi Big Nick Malawi. Yatusati kuti kodi moyo wanu woyimba ukuyenda bwanji mu Johannesburg?
Moyo woyimba ukuyenda bwinobwino kwambiri, chiliyonse chikutheka ndithu bwinobwino.
Ayi azioneka chiliyonse chikutheka mofa magrasi anu apa mwaka akuti kumenya yonse azioneka zoti azikutheka ndithu mu Johannesburg.
Malonje pa nthawi ya 6 koloko kufikira 7 koloko madzulo. Lowiruka ndi Stella Longwe.
Mix Vibration sur Channel Africa.
C'est notre invitée du jour, la belle Aïna Mwenze. Elle est là, certaines l'appellent Boss Lady.
Bonjour Monsieur Jolino.
Parlez-nous un tout petit peu de vous.
Je m'appelle Boss Lady Aïna. Je mets l'accent sur le nom de Boss Lady parce que je mérite cela après le travail fait. Et c'est une rémunération en titre de la personne que je suis devenue aujourd'hui. Épouse et une mère de 4 garçons. Et voilà ce que je peux dire pour l'instant.
Et vous vous êtes lancé dans le business, comment c'est venu?
En tant que mère et se retrouvant dans les pays étrangers, particulièrement en Afrique du Sud, je me disais que laisser les enfants sur la charge des travailleurs ou d'une bonne, ça serait pas très intéressant. Je me suis dit, bon, je dois essayer de m'organiser et trouver un emploi que je peux faire.
Mix Vibration, tous les dimanches de 18h à 19h, temps universel.
From Cape to Cairo, every beat tells a story. It's African Diaries on Channel Africa.
10 minutes after 11 p.m. Central African time. If you have just joined us, we are still in conversation with Willem Gous, who is a speaker, author, and entrepreneur who's dedicated time, very much time, if you ask me, 25 years to be precise, and more to championing entrepreneurial thinking. This is a way of looking at life, not necessarily for the purpose of entrepreneurship. And this is what I wanted to touch on first.
Yes.
Right? There is... So with the idea or the prospects of entrepreneurial thinking, one could think that this means I'm going to leave my job and start pursuing this world of entrepreneurship. And maybe I've been burnt a couple of times. Maybe I just don't like the idea of being an entrepreneur. I want us to conscientize ourselves to understand that this is a way of thinking and not necessarily a focus on entrepreneurship.
That's a very good question. I'm glad you're asking that. You know, so I always position entrepreneurial thinking as a life skill. And you can use it in life, love, and business.
Love?
Yes, let me explain. So in life, if you're struggling with an obstacle, let's look at the school-going kid or a university student. They struggle with their marks. What do? Okay, if they just do what they've always done, they're going to get the same results. But as an entrepreneur, if you start thinking like an entrepreneur, you don't have to start a business. And that, number one, so I have 5 core principles And the first one is agency, and that's my ability to make my own decisions and move forward. But that student in that moment of time feels that they don't have agency. They're frozen in fear, worry what their parents are going to say. Okay? And then you look at flowing forward, and that's finding your next smallest step. What can you do to improve your marks now? What's the one smallest thing you can do? And then you look at, what do I need to start doing, but also stop doing? And what do I need to change in what I'm doing? And that goes on many levels. How do I think about this subject? How do I feel about this subject? How do I approach the subject? But then also the emotional side, okay? What fear do I need to let go of? What do I need to accept? Or how might I reframe this? You know, when somebody said, oh, but my business this and business that, and I just reframed and said, oh, so it's a non-issue. Yes. So if you reframe a bad situation, it looks different. And then you look at your resources. What do I have? What can I use now? Be like a child playing Lego. Use all that you have. And once you go through that, you will find I have all the people, resources, everything available to me to improve my marks. Right there. In love, in a relationship, you and your husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, how do we make our relationship better? What's standing in our way? How can we move around that? What's the smallest next step we can do? What are we going to change doing? What do I need to accept about some irritating habit that you have? And maybe reframe that. And what can we use to really make this a fun relationship or grow the family? And then you apply that same thinking if you want to start a business or you're in a business. Because I teach this in businesses as well, to individuals and teams, so that the whole organization thinks entrepreneurially. One CEO there, I think 26 countries, they want to facilitate a complete culture shift through this thinking. Because their industry is facing massive disruption.
Sure.
And now you need to re-navigate this beast. And they can use that to do that. Or your team goes, this is not working. We're waiting for, okay, how might we go forward? What's the next step that we can take? What do we have available? What do we need to do differently? What are we not seeing? How should we look differently at this thing? So as you go through, then I created the compass, which is just a thinking process that you can work through consistently, and it leads to answers and solutions and ways for you to move forward.
Sure. And in the work that you've done over the past 25 years, what are some of the consistent issues that you've seen specific to Africans?
And I've spoken about this previously as well, as the learned helplessness, the belief, the sheer belief that I have to have funding, a business plan, and access to market to start a business. And that is the biggest lie.
Sure.
And that's across all developing economies. Yeah, not just Africa.
Sure. Let's make this practical for the mom, the dad who's listening right now. We've talked about how we as adults can use this matrix to develop the way we are thinking. But I'm thinking about a mom who's got a 6-year-old and is staring at them as they sleep, and they're saying, I don't know if I can make this tangible for you to understand now. How would they integrate this kind of thinking into their day-to-day?
It's a very good thing. So when mom is with it, because the 6-year-old is awake. I mean, my son started the business at 6 selling cupcakes because he wanted more Lego. And I said, well, I won't give you Lego, I'll give you the knowledge to make money. And when the child locks up into a situation like, I don't know, okay, what can you do? What's the smallest step that you can take now? What might you do? What are you not seeing? Okay, and what have you done, and what can you do differently? Okay, and are you sad about this? Okay, that's fine. Did you lose anything? No. Did you get hurt? No. So why you hurt. And I go, okay, that makes sense. And okay, cool. What tools? You play Lego? So now you want to do this. Think of it as Lego. What do you have to do this? And then it goes through. Actually, my daughter said to me the other day, it's because of you that I'm doing the work that I'm doing now. She struggled so much with computers. I hate computers. I don't get computers. You know, that teenager. And I'll play this recording to her. And I would leave her by the computer and said, you will not get up from this computer unless you've read an article or watched the YouTube and figured this out. She finished her studies. She was 1 year at work, and then she was put in a management position with people under her. Because she self-learns, she adapts, she applies entrepreneurial thinking in every part of her life.
Sure. Willem, let's talk about some of the work that you've done. I know that you've partnered with universities such as NWU. It's in the Northwest University, right? Running your master classes, what are some of the things that you noticed with youngsters and their appetite for, or their desire to learn, perhaps?
That's a very good question. Desire to learn, I think most people at university want to learn to get a job and get an income. There's not necessarily always a desire to learn. They're just going through the motions to get the stuff done. And this is a major oversimplification. There are students who are super dedicated. I mean, they're inspirational. But once you wake them up to the practical side of knowledge, because university is usually just theory, but now you bring the practical and you show them how they can use that theory into a business environment, that really excites them. So I love working with that. I even started testing now with another university, I won't mention their name, but to get postgraduate students who research new technologies, new materials and stuff, how to commercialize that. So now we can awaken the intellectual property of Africa.
Sure.
And that's what I'm working on that. But my favorite stories are still the ones in the townships. They're the most heart-wrenching, because I will never forget this one guy in Diepsloot. And every day he came to class, he wore the same shoes, and they were holy shoes. Lots of holes in them. And the same clothes and everything else. And it turned out he's an orphan. And he was just sleeping wherever he could, and he came to school every day to do his studies. And he had no income. He wanted to be a rapper. And I'm like, okay, can you rap? And he couldn't. And I'm like, okay, let's wrap that up for now.
Oh no.
And we got him into a car wash, and he started making 1,500 rand, which is about what, $80, $90 per week in profits. That made a massive difference for him, because now he could buy clothes, now he could eat, he could get a place to live. And that for me is beautiful. That's what we need in this continent, because once you've given a person the ability to make money, and they see it comes from them, it wasn't given to them, it wasn't funding or a gift or a grant. It's, I made this. That is powerful. You can never take that away from them.
Sure. For those who want to become powerful in their own right, who want to access your material, your education systems, perhaps even suss where next you will be with respect to your 5-week course in the townships, how do they find you?
Thehumanentrepreneur.org. That's the main website. There's a contact form there, thehumanentrepreneur.org. Otherwise, find me on LinkedIn. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm very active there, always active there. Connect with me and start a conversation. I have at least 3 or 4 conversations with people in other countries in Africa every week. How might we do this and how might we? And that's an exploration. And if you're a school or a university or a parent with a kid in school and go like, how can we get entrepreneurial thinking into the school? Definitely reach out to me.
Sure. Willem, this has been a pleasure. One of part 4 of the series where we look to change the landscape of the context of the African continent. And I love what you said there, that once you realize that you are the one championing this thing, there's a sense of purpose, there's a sense of pride. You understand what your capacity is, and you walk into every room with that knowledge. I think I absolutely love that. Willem, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Shayla.
The voice of Willem Gous joining us this evening. He is a globally recognized speaker, an author, an entrepreneur, and an individual who's dedicated their time to championing entrepreneurial thinking as expressed and exposed this evening. Listen, this is part 1 of a 4-part series. You do not want to miss out on it. We're going to be igniting the future of the African continent, and we do this alongside Willem Gous. It is 23 minutes after 11 p.m. Central African time. Let's take a quick breather.
Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet.
Channel 802.
I'ma get no be so. Girl, you won't capture my soul. I'ma get no be so. Make you want umbo lumbo. Beru, ba, I'm loose. Even Peru done the para. Tonight in Josie, I'm in Josie. Won't call if you want Josie. I'm not playing with you, I'm not joking. My thought of mom is loaded. Me, you can go, but I'm on duty, but I'm on low-key. They want do me, they want do me. Cause they want, when you won't want me, when you won't want me. I'm in San Francisco, Jammy. When you won't want me, when you won't want me. I just flew in from Miami. Peru, para, I'm loose. Even Peru done the para. Pour out the bottle, I wanna level up. When I'm with you, I never get enough. Slow wine, I'm not in a rush. I can hear music when you're here. Tonight we're rolling, party till closing. Since I put the ring on the finger, it's still frozen. Love in slow motion, I wanna feel you over me, yeah. Certain magic in your eyes, yeah. Girl, I love the way you ride it. And it happens every time you arrive, that's right. Girl, I want you in my life, yeah. There's a heaven and it's right, yeah. I will never leave your side, stay tonight. When you won't see me, I'm in West London this evening. Giving me the feelings, no I'm not leaving till I fly LA next weekend. Peru, nah, girl I'd rather go find somewhere quiet. You glow, and I get lost here in your eyes. I'ma gain all be so, girl you just capture my soul. I'ma gain all be so, make me wanna just take you home. Peru, para. I'm loose. Even Peru done the para. Peru, para. I'm loose. Even Peru done the para.
Channel Africa, where every moment is an African celebration. Feel the energy, feel the connection. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
lefatsheng lena ka morero le sepheo ka moao a mpha batswadi ba lerato ke motlotlo ka bona ba mpontsha tsela ba ntataisa ba nsupisa mo nneteleng teng ba re hona o tla fihla mo o yang teng ba re nna le nna ke tla fihla mo ke yang teng le nna ke tla fihla mo ke yang teng le nna ke lo fihla ke ne ke sa tsebe hore mona ke lefatsheng masisapelo a hlasela o sa lebella ke ne ke sa tsebe hore mona ke lebaleng la ntwa le hlolang fela ke leruma la moya ho fumana pholoso ke ho latela la hae lentswe le reng ke nna tsela le nnete le bophelo lefokolong ya ka o mpha matla mohau wa ntatela lefifing ke ena kganya ere le nna ke tla fihla mo ke yang teng le nna ke lo fihla mo ke yang teng le nna ke lo fihla mo ke yang teng le nna ke lo fihla
It is 31 minutes after 11 p.m. Central African time. That beautiful one coming through by Malay, and that one titled Kitlo Fitla. I will arrive. Listen, if you are trying to develop your entrepreneurial thinking for the purposes of living life large, and I say this in all aspects because there was such a turn in viewing challenge that made me think every space, every place in your life, you can apply this entrepreneurial thinking. And of course, joining us to help us expand on that was Willem Goos, who is quite honestly, in my mind, one of the most remarkable thinkers that I've come across. He is a recognized speaker, an author, an entrepreneur, and an individual who's dedicated their life and times to championing entrepreneurial thinking and, of course, sharing this knowledge with very many. For instance, the work he's done with the University of Northwest, and of course some of the 5-week programs that he has run in townships across South Africa. Entrepreneurial thinking is the way forward, if you ask me. Before that, we played a song there by Fireboy DML, and that one titled Peru, the remix alongside Ed Sheeran. Time for us to get into your thoughts, your views, and what is trending on social media with respect to this conversation. We kickstart off with our very first audio, just gauging what the growth catalyst has to say.
Start where you are with the little that you have. Industrialization, it will find you on the way. Resources will find you on the way. We started with a 25-liter bucket and a wooden spoon. That's how we started. And right now we've got mixing drums. We do not have a full production line which is mechanized. We're still using plastic jugs to measure. Sometimes it delays the process because we then have to deliver late because we were not able to fulfill the order timely. But we are using whatever that we have at our disposal, and we are doing it excellently. I always say, do your best. Your product will sell itself. So more often we've got entrepreneurs who are full of excuses. I think for me personally, it would also be difficult for me to invest into an idea. But if I've seen what you have done and I see the effort that you put in, then it's more likely to push you to say, no, man, let's invest in this person. So just start where you are with the little that you have, but do it excellently.
No, 100%. So now I've seen you on a lot of print media, social media, top women, empower her, and awards and accolades. Maybe take us through that, and I'll tell you why. I don't believe that there is enough platforms that women are celebrated, and we're trying, but we could.
34 after 11 p.m. Central African time. That clip there, just a bit of a brief of the interview that was hosted on the Growth Catalyst platform. And that's speaking to beginning with what you have. And I think this is a process that one needs to undergo after asking yourself critical questions, right? What can I do differently? What's the small change that I can apply right now? Am I seeing things from the right perspective? How do I feel? And how is my feeling influencing what it is that needs to be done? And then I begin to look at, what do I have in my arsenal? What do I have in my context that can now facilitate this new view, this new way of doing things that will enhance whatever it is I'm trying to achieve? I do agree with that view 110%. You have to begin with what you are resourced with at this very instance. And sometimes it feels like, Shayla, I have nothing, okay? I have no access to funding. I have no access to perhaps education. I don't have access to market. I don't even know what I want to do. Maybe we start by slowing down, right? Slow down. Breathe. The solution is not going to come in your panic. The solution is not going to come because you are looking at the problem. The solution is going to come when you begin to look at yourself and realize that the brilliance to fix this problem is actually within you. With that being said, let's get some music and then we get back and hear more of your thoughts, your views, and what's trending on social media.
Get the news, music, and lifestyle of Africa on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Czar.
It's you, me, us. Girl, it's you, me, us. I'm in the mood, baby, I'm in the mood. I got nothing to lose, I got nothing to lose. Nothing can stop me from loving you. Nothing can stop me, cause I don't fall for you. It's you, me, us. Say, girl, it's you, me, and us.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, uthando lwami lihamba ney'mali zami sithandwa sama nginasikhathi nakho manginawe ngijabula sithandwa ngizohlala ngenza iplan hleze ngibuza bomalume ukuthi umuntu ofana nawe uthandwa njani bathi angithumela inkomo ngifisa ngathi ngakunike sakhe isibaya welele ameshanewe ntombenhle nayo welele angikuzile ngawe inhliziyo ayimameli angangithanda umofesh azakhuma ngelistress nyazawuzwani nenontes kodwa uyibhantula ngepressure nabadwadla nge-35 ubatambise nge-Chanel kodwa ngiyithembile lifestyle izongenzisa
Love music, love culture, love life. You on Channel Africa, the African perspective. Turn the page. It's African Diaries on Channel Africa.
Yeah, I'm off tour, we should celebrate, dedicate some time for you, baby, it's a day I can't be late, gotta regulate, cause I hate dirty looks on your pretty face, made back, I pulled up on a shitty day, I told her bring a passport, told her bring a case, fly out for a couple days, we should take a trip away, there's no time like the present, we're getting lit
Say you wanna
today.
link on the low, meet between the sheets on the low, so that no one can see us on the low, make we just creep it though, I know you want the link on the low, we have to stay discreet, you don't know. And now we're on the street on the low. And if they asking about we, I don't know. Turn nothing to something and say that it's nothing. Stop all the fronting when we both know we're talking. It's not up for discussion. We don't do much discussing. So don't act like there's nothing when we both know there's something. You know you make me vex on the low. Boy, you make me stress, you don't know. Then you send me sweet texts on the low. So now I can't leave you alone. Yeah, might be in too deep. Can't save myself, can I lose it? Feel like me rendering a service and you give me a tip. Mind going crazy, chasing lucid dreams. Turn nothing to something and say that it's nothing. Stop all the fronting when we both know we're talking. It's not up for discussion. We don't do much discussing. So act like there's nothing when we both know there's something.
Yeah, I'm off tour, we should celebrate, dedicate some time for you, baby, it's a day I can't be late, gotta regulate, cause I hate dirty looks on your pretty face, made back, I pulled up on a shitty day, I told her bring a passport, told her bring a case, fly out for a couple days, we should take a trip away, there's no time like the present, we're getting lit today.
40 minutes after 11 p.m. Central African Time. If you've just joined us, Tiwa Savage alongside Skepta with that one titled On the Low. Before that, we had Swavey coming in with Us, and that feature is by Young Stunner. Interesting fun fact, that song Us has quite a few renditions, and by that I mean Swavey has partnered with different individuals across the continent. I know that Jackie from Ghana is one of the artists that he partnered with on the Us song, and Young Stunner so happens to be another that he's partnered with. Let's see how far the stretch can go with this Us song that got him on the map through TikTok. Can you believe it? Listen, if you've just joined us, we're talking all things entrepreneurship thinking or entrepreneurial thinking, and how this isn't necessarily about making money, but it's about strategic thinking that allows you to reinvent the wheel or sometimes innovate the wheel so that it suits you at a profit. And so what was really interesting that Willem Gous said is that it's not just about being able to see your business flourish. It's you using this thinking in relationships. You using this thinking when it comes to perhaps studies. anything and everything can encompass that entrepreneurial thinking. What's your take on that? +27634069126. If you missed that conversation with Willem Gous, then please be sure to head over to YouTube and Facebook, particularly YouTube for the podcast. Look for the platform Channel Africa. And of course, you will be looking through to find that descriptor that speaks to Willem Gous, who is an author, a speaker, and an entrepreneur with the knack, the skill set, the ability to impart his entrepreneurial thinking onto others. Let's get into the next audio where we get your thoughts, your views, and this one coming through from Tinyiko Ngobeni.
These are the main finance topics that changed my life. Like, okay, girl, who are you? You know, I had to ask myself the serious questions like, girl, why are you spending so much money? Why do you like to take on debt even when it's so unnecessary? You know, why do you have to go shopping if you're feeling sad? Why do you want to spend all that money that's in your account? You know, why ulumaki in, you know? I used to ask myself those questions, and that's where I actually started. The second thing that I did was that I learned how to save money. Saving is a skill, guys. If you don't have it, you can start learning anytime, right? There is no limitation as to when you can learn. You just have to be serious and do it. And that's what I did. After saving, you start learning that people are investing. What is that? So now I started reading and I was like, you can actually make your money work for you. So I go to work right now and I make money. Fine, but there are ways to make money for me even when I'm not there. And that's in the form of investing. I was like, what? Then I learned about compound interest. I was like, oh, no! Money growing on top of I was like, Then I learned that people are retiring early. That was the time. People are actually working on retiring early. It is not normal to retire at an old age. I was so shocked. Then I started learning about wealth creation. It's like, what? You can create wealth? Yeah? Then it came to generational wealth. I was like, oh, you can actually leave something for your children. And since I learned all of that, I've never been the same person. These are the
Tinyiko there, Ngobeni coming through and just sharing her finds when it comes to entrepreneurship, the possibilities, the plausibilities of getting out of the mud that is noted as poverty, as living below the means, known as the mud that we refer to when we talk about hand-to-mouth living. That place where you feel stuck, where you feel like, I don't have enough. I'm always constantly looking for more, searching for more. I want another job. I want another opportunity to start this project and partner with an already established platform so that I can gain some kind of rapport. Listen, making money, firstly, can be fun, is what Denyiko just proved to us. But also, make it your own journey. Make it your experience. It is okay to take your time with it. At the end of the day, it's not about whether you make money or not. That is a result of what you've done, right? Not the purpose. It is the result of the self-work that you have done within you. And so the change starts with you. And you realizing that every problem that you come across is an actual opportunity to bring about a solution of excellence that will assist those who are in need. And that is the crux and core of business. Folks, in all my searching and researching, if you will, I have found that business is nothing but solving problems. Sometimes people create problems to solve them. That's a different story. Listen, we're not going to get into that. We're going to stick to the positive. Business is essentially solving a problem. And you cannot solve other people's problems if you are not solving your own. And that isn't the idea or the understanding of, I don't have money, I don't have the tangibles. It's about within yourself. Do you understand that you have the power to solve problems? So that one thing that continues to bother you, you can actually solve. That one emotional state that you need to work away from, you can actually solve. And when you see yourself as the solution person, as this solution oriented, as this person who's capable of changing contexts, business is easy peasy lemon squeezy. If you feel like, Shayla, listen, you're living in a bubble, this is a dreamland talk, I have a thing or two to say to you. Find me on WhatsApp +27 6340 69126.
Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa. One continent, 1,000 stories. It's African Diaries, 10 till midnight on Channel Africa.
Last, now everybody go to breakfast. Shayo, Dad, Shayo, Dad. You go bow for the result, though. Nothing to discuss, oh. Cause I did win by default and without any doubt, though. I'm a me happy adult, though. I no go feed the girl, it's out, though. I'm a mind as you the talk, oh. I put my life into my job and I know I'm in trouble. She manipulate my love, oh. I know holy and I know that get boss. Like the Baba Frayo, my ayo, don't cry, yo. I need to go and shayo. 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 I did Port Harcourt when them kill Soboma. I did try to buy moto, one Toyota Corolla. My feelings been they swing like Django Lover. Feelings been they swing like Django Lover. Now you crash your Ferrari for Lucky Bona. Now so much you remake could have been all over. My feelings today swing like Django Lover. Feelings today swing like Timbani Kachuru Achuru. I'm a white dog in Fenisu. Why you say I did nothing for you when if I do anything you want me to do? Timbani Kachuru Achuru. I'm a white dog in Fenisu. Why you say I did nothing for you when if I do anything you want me to do? Maybe another time, maybe another life. You will be my wife and we'll get it right. Young cast, last. Now everybody go to breakfast. Have to say bye-bye, yo. Bye-bye, yo. To the love of my life. My ayo, don't cry, yo. I need to go and shayo. 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 I need to go and shayo.
Ten minutes before the show comes to an end, that song titled Last. Quite a few stories coming out. Burna Boy listen, brilliant song. Don't get me started there. It's a beautiful song, but the controversy around it is rather interesting. I believe Morris Touch knows a thing or two about that song by Burna Boy titled Last. Listen, on that note, this is the last time we will be speaking today. Of course, this is just the team and I. Tomorrow we do this again between 10 and 12. Of course, then affording Morris Touch an opportunity to take over. Morris, are you on the line this evening?
Very much there. How are you doing, Shayla?
I am fantastic. I want to know, what do you know about this last song?
I know that it's a beautiful song. It's a good song, man. It's a good party song. I don't know if ever there's any controversies, besides the fact that it was sampled from Tony Braxton's track, and it's said that Tony Braxton received. I looked at the realities. I think Tony Braxton actually got more than Burna Boy as far as royalties are concerned.
Yeah, but this was a penalty. This was a penalty. So what had happened is that he had gone ahead. I'm not too sure what the nitty-gritties were behind in terms of the conversations held between the two management teams. However, I know that this was a punishment of kinds. Tony Braxton came for his edges and she tore some off. And that's what happened with respect to that song. But through the grapevine, I'm hearing new info. But tell me what you know, Morris.
I think I looked at that story from a point of most of these artists breaking. It wasn't actually the first time that I had had controversies surrounding royalties and someone taking someone's music and just sampling it without the consent or the finality on agreements as far as that sampling or using that soundtrack is concerned. So I didn't go further to just try and find out what other controversies surround that song.
You know what, Morris? On that interesting note, I'm going to keep the controversial statements to myself because I also want to do some fact checking. I thought you were going to know, and then you were going to tell me that I was going to be like, aha, even me, I know it. But we don't need to know that. What we do need to know is what comes up on the Afro Republic this morning.
What I did just before I step on that, what I know on that track is that he should have been man enough. He wasn't man enough at Burna Boy as far as approaching that type of setup is concerned. I think he wasn't. If he was man enough, he would have gotten his fair share in that type of in that deal. But anyway, we are stepping into the most exciting part of the night as far as music is concerned. We get into this space and we just find ourselves traveling the continent of Africa, experiencing the continent of Africa through sound. We are called Afro Republic, and we do it every Tuesday, 12 midnight to 3 a.m. Central African time. There's so much to look forward to. We are experiencing a brand spanking new month, and today is being the 1st of September, and we kick off the show on the 2nd of September. It's springtime, it's summertime. The music also goes. This is what people are going to experience during the course of the month. The music will lighten up as well. The music will tell you that it's now summertime. The sound bit, the sound bite to the show will be so much summer-like, springtime-like. So that's what people would experience as we journey through. But knowing us, every Tuesday we take it nice and slow. We talk about the greatness of our continent through beautiful live performances that one will experience, especially as we journey through our second hour, where we take you through a live concert. So that's coming through between 1:30 and 2 o'clock. So there's something to look forward to as far as performances, live performances are concerned. Last week we had a fantastic group coming through as well and performing from Pole Pole. Pole Pole is one of biggest European festivals. So today we've got another surprise coming through as well at 1:30 o'clock. So it's something to look forward to. Otherwise, as we hit the top of the last hour, we've got what we call the connection point. We journey through the continent of Africa, and you experience the continent of Africa by some clues that we'll have shared with you. And all that we want you to do is to come through and just guess what city we are talking about or what country we are talking about after having seen or gotten clues from the cities that would have shared with you.
Absolutely, Morris. That sounds like a blast. So much so that I heard you and your monitor twice. So twice as nice is the show that comes up ahead. Morris, thank you so much for joining us. I will catch you on the other side of Tuesday morning.
All right. Thank you very much, Shayla. It's always good chatting to you. I did not find out what you were talking about today, but I know where to go, how to find it. But it's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Absolutely. Have a lovely one, hey?
Thank you, Morris. Thank you so much for joining us. The voice of Morris Touch of the Afro Republic between midnight and 3 a.m. in Central African time. Listen, from the team and I, it has been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to thank the team that has been on technical. We have had Ndate Francis Masina on digital, we've had Elaine Vengani and Mr. PK. And then lastly, on production, Nolo Pebetsi. My name is Shayla Ndikumana. And until tomorrow, cheers.